My name is Nina. I'm 34 years old, and I live in a quiet village nestled between hills and rivers, where the sky is vast and the evenings are painted with birdsong. My husband, Ethan, and I built a modest house near his father's home. It's a simple life, but it's ours. Ethan works in the nearby town, while I stay home with our 3 children. Ella, our eldest, is 10, bright-eyed and always asking questions. Lana, 7, loves dancing in the rain. And Noah, our baby, just turned 2, with cheeks like rose petals and laughter that lights up every corner of our home. The villagers often say we are a strong, kind family. I think they're right. Our lives aren't perfect, but they're full of love. Ethan has an older brother, Caleb, 2 years a senior. They've always been close. Their parents were busy, so Caleb practically raised Ethan, walking him to school, helping with homework, protecting him from bullies. Ethan reveres him, and honestly, I admire him too. Caleb is married to Mira. She's soft-spoken and gentle, with a warmth that makes flowers bloom in her presence. We became fast friends, sharing quiet talks over tea and afternoons in our gardens. We even travel to the city together every spring to buy flower seeds. But behind her smiles is a sorrow that never fades. Mira can't have children. She once told me in a whisper, "The doctors say it's a condition I was born with." I've made peace with it mostly, but sometimes when I see your little ones, I always tried to comfort her. Medicine is amazing now, Mira. Maybe one day it'll happen. Miracles still exist. She'd smile at my hope, but the years passed. No miracle came. Then came a day that changed everything. We were hosting a family gathering for Noah's baptism. Caleb was the godfather. His eyes shone when he held Noah in his arms, gently rocking him. I had cooked all day. The house smelled of herbs and freshly baked bread. The children ran barefoot in the garden, laughter echoing through the trees. Everyone ate, drank, and celebrated. It was perfect. When the sun dipped behind the hills, the guests began to leave. I tucked the children into bed, Noah clutching his toy fox, Ella asking one last question about the stars. As I stepped into the living room, Ethan stood holding Noah. Caleb was beside him, looking strangely serious. "Nina," Ethan said, "Caleb wants to talk to you." I smiled, thinking it was about a fishing trip or a surprise for Mira. But Caleb's voice was quiet, almost trembling. "Nina, I need to ask you something. And I know it's too much, but I've thought about it for months." I looked at him, confused. "What is it?" He took a deep breath, then said something that felt like the air had been knocked out of me. "Would you carry a child for us?" I stared at him, stunned. At first, I thought I misheard him. I looked at Ethan, who was silent, eyes lowered. "You mean?" I began, my voice shaky. Caleb nodded. "Mira and I can't have children. We've tried everything. Adoption failed. The baby we brought home was sick and passed away within months. We were shattered. But every time I come here, I feel something again.
Joy. Hope.
Your children, your love. I want that. Mira wants that. I love her too much to leave her, but I know she's breaking inside." I shook my head slowly. "You want me to be the surrogate? Caleb, this is huge." "I know," he said, stepping closer. "But you're healthy. Your pregnancies were smooth. You're strong. The baby would be loved, by Mira, by me. We'd move far away. You wouldn't have to see us or the baby. I'd even give up my inheritance, everything from the family for Ethan. Just help us." Tears filled my eyes. I backed away. "I need time." I ran out of the room and found Mira sitting alone on the porch, watching the stars.
"You knew," I said.
She looked at me, her eyes glistening. "I did," she whispered. "He asked me before he asked you. I didn't want him to, but he's desperate. I told him it was unfair to ask. But Nina, I'm scared too. Scared he'll leave. He won't say it, but I see it in his eyes."
She reached for my hand.
"I would never force you. But I know your heart. You always help. You are brave. Maybe you can give me a chance to be a mother." I couldn't speak. My heart felt like it was being torn in two. I wanted to help. I loved Mira like a sister. I admired Caleb. But this? It was more than just a favor. It was my body, my soul, and a life that would grow inside me and then not be mine. Days passed. I avoided the question. Ethan tried to be neutral, but I could feel his discomfort. One night, I confronted him. Would you really be okay with this? I asked. He looked away. Caleb means everything to me. And Mira, she deserves happiness. And me? I said, voice breaking. You'd still be my wife. The baby would never come between us. But it wouldn't be ours, I whispered. I'd carry a child, feel it move inside me, give birth and hand it away. That changes a person, Ethan. He had no answer. I couldn't sleep. I began to dream of another child, one who called me Mama. Even when I didn't answer, I'd wake up with my arms wrapped around my belly, breathless and afraid. Finally, I decided to visit my childhood friend Sasha, a nurse who lived 2 villages away. She had a quiet wisdom and had seen much in her work: life, death, joy, loss. I told her everything. She listened without interruption, her eyes calm. After a long pause, she said, "You have a kind heart, Nina. But kindness doesn't mean breaking yourself. You have to ask yourself, can you let go of a child you've grown inside you? Not just physically, but emotionally? Can you face your children and say, this baby wasn't yours to keep?" Tears rolled down my cheeks. I don't know. I want to say yes. I want to help Mira. But I'm scared I'll regret it forever. Sasha took my hand. Then that's your answer. Because true giving comes without doubt. If your heart isn't certain, it's not wrong, it's honest. That night, I returned home. The moon hung heavy over our house. I kissed my sleeping children and lay beside Ethan, who turned to me. "I can't do it," I whispered. He pulled me close. "Then we won't." The next day, I invited Mira for tea. I sat her down, hands shaking. I thought about it. I cried. I prayed. I wanted to say yes, but I can't. She nodded, silent. But I continued. "I can be there for you in another way. Let's look into adoption again, together. Maybe not an infant. Maybe a child who needs a second chance. I'll be with you every step." She looked at me, her lips trembling. "You're still giving me hope," she said. "Even if it's not what we dreamed, it's something." We hugged, and for the first time, her tears were soft, not heavy. Months passed. Mira and Caleb began the adoption process. They eventually welcomed a 4-year-old girl named Sophia, a quiet child with big eyes and a cautious heart. It wasn't easy. Sophia cried for weeks, but Mira never gave up. She rocked her, sang to her, read stories until the words blurred. Slowly, Sophia began to smile. One day, she reached out and called Mira Mama. When Mira told me, she was glowing. "You were right," she said. "Miracles do happen, just not always in the way we expect." And me? I found peace, because I stayed true to myself. And because, in the end, love didn't ask for perfection. It asked for presence, patience, and honesty. Sometimes, the hardest no leads to the truest yes. What would you have done in Nina's place? Would you have made a different choice? Share your thoughts in the comments. If this story touched you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more emotional journeys. Your support means the world to us.